Welcome back to the channel. Once again, if you guys like the content they're providing, to be sure to subscribe today so you don't miss any of the uploads that we have coming up. We are live out here in Norwalk for the Summit Racing Equipment NHRA Nationals, powered by our friends at Peak Performance. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Motorsports Market, along to Doug Collette, happened here on
The heat returned once again on Saturday afternoon in Norwalk as teams made their final attempts to improve their starting positions heading into Sunday's Summit Racing Equipment Nationals. Ron Tornow turned all the heads on Friday night as he lit up the scoreboard in the number 3 position, marking a vast improvement in performance in what is to be his final season on a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, it's been an amazing weekend. We're running way better than we have at prior events, and all that credit goes to Matt Smith. We have him doing our tune-ups this year, this being our final year on the tour, and we wanted to go out strong. So I've been doing the tune-up the last couple of years, but that's all new to me, and with the number of runs we have, it would take me forever to get to the point that I can tune like he can. So we have him doing the tune-ups, and he's put on the latest changes that he has on all the bikes over in his pit. We now have all the same stuff that John Hall and Gianna have. We have the same stuff, and in fact, that last qualifier was me and John Hall ran side by side, and our numbers were almost identical down through. So we've got amazing power this weekend, and we're just so excited. And we've never qualified this well before, ever. Normally, we might get lucky in Q1, and then we get bumped down as everybody gets a hold of the setup. But we went yesterday, we were at 4 after Q1, then we went to 3, and then I think Angie bumped us down. We might be back to, I think we might be 5th now. Yeah, Gage and Angie beat us up. But still, that's amazing. We're sitting 5th going into Q4, and our chances look really good.
Matt Hartford continued to improve the performance of his KB Titan-powered Camaro as he finished 3rd at the end of qualifying and captured a monumental win in the Pro Stock Callout, nabbing him a $40,000 bonus.
Oh, it felt great, you know, to take the Getrix money, but more important to get through Latino first round, Dallas second round, and then the king himself, Craig Anderson, 3rd round. That was huge for us. A lot of momentum going into tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day, though, so it's going to be tough. Every opponent up there is going to be, you know, on their game, so we just got to go up and perform tomorrow.
Cruz Pedregon also had an impressive 4 rounds of qualifying. He surprised a lot of people in the paddock after he knocked Austin Prague off the top spot on Friday, scoring his first #1 qualifier in 2 years.
Yeah, I was. You know, I pulled in. I don't wear a radio set in my helmet. I used to years ago. Guys got tired of hearing me cussing and MFing them, so I took it out. So I got out of the car. I thought, man, that's probably a pretty good run. And I saw them interviewing Alexis, and she just ran a 396. So I thought, well, nobody's turning around. So Alexis tipped me out right when I got out of the hatch. She says, she went like this, and I thought, okay, well, maybe went at 395 to trump her 396. And when I took my helmet off, she said, dude, 389. I'm like, okay, it surprised me. So that was good. It was like I said, we kind of, it was a bonsai move, but it ripped and hooked up, and yeah, so that was it's an enjoyable time because, you know, to be #1 at that, everybody has the shot, everybody knows the tractor is good, so it's what you can give it at that time, and it rewarded us.
And Dan Mercier made some noise during qualifying as well. The part-time top fuel racer out of Quebec came to Ohio and seated himself solidly in the top half of the ladder heading into Sunday, out-qualifying some stiff competition.
Yeah, so for us, this year we'll want to make 10 races. So for 10 races, it's a lot for us, and the most difficult is always pass the custom. So the custom, sometimes we need 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Everybody check everything, and so we run with the great parts, and I have a very, very good team. All my guys make the same job every run, so that's why I think we won. For my five first races this year, we won three times the first round. So tomorrow it's time for win a couple of rounds.
Protect your vehicle with Peak Original Equipment Technology. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle.
And in Pro Stock Motorcycle, Matt Smith held on to the #1 spot to end out the 4 rounds of qualifying, as the V-twin Buells have a massive performance advantage here in the hot and humid conditions here in Norwalk, Ohio. Gage Herrera not too far behind him at 8:16 to an 8:20. It's going to be a tight shot for Matt Smith to try to score his 2nd win of the season. John Hall, an impressive run in the 3rd spot. Angie Smith back in 4th. Richard Gadsden down in 5th. Ron Tornow, who we just talked to, down in the 6th position, a 6:85 with a 3. He has only 3 or 2 more races left before he calls it a career. What do it mean to him to score a win in his final season? Johnny Varisto down in 7th. Steve Johnson rounds out the top half. Mark Ingerson falls down to 9th. Chase Van Sant in 10th. Chris Bostick in 11th. Wesley Wells in 12th. And Odolph Daniels makes his first race day here in Norwalk. For Pro Stock, tell me if you've heard this before. Greg Anderson, #1 qualifier, 6:59 with a 4. Dallas Glenn, only 2 thousandths behind him with a 5:96. Matt Hartford, who we just spoke to, your Pro Stock Callout winner, finishes in 3rd. Greg Stanfield, an impressive run-up in the 4th spot. Corey Reed, the caveman, down in 5th. Eric Latino, his race after stepping out due to knee surgery, down in the 6th spot. Cody Coughlin in 7th, had no parachutes on his Q4 run. Aaron Stanfield ends up in 8th. Down in the bottom half, you're going to find Erica Enders leading the charge. Jack Coughlin not too far behind him. Derek Kramer in 11th. Troy Coughlin Jr. in 12th. Mason McGahey 13th. Chris McGahey, his father, in 14th. Val Smeelan in the 15th spot. And Derek Reese ends up in the 16th position. And in funny car, like we just talked about earlier, Cruz Pedregon ends on the #1 spot with a 3:89. Austin Brock, an impressive performance as well in 2nd with a 3:90, not too far behind the cruiser. Ron Capps in 3rd. We mentioned this last night. Still feeling a little bit sore after a midget crash back on Thursday at RFP. He ends up in 3rd. The birthday boy himself, Jack Beckman in the 4th spot. Matt Hagan down in 5th. Alexis Joya in 6th. Hunter Green down in the 7th spot. Daniel Wilkerson, who went back-to-back Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge wins. He ends up in the 8th position. Down in 9th, you're going to find Spencer Hyde. Bob Tasca in the 10th spot. Dave Richards, who had a massive explosion in Q number 3, out with a backup body. He runs on 11th. J.R. Todd in the 12th spot. Chad Green, 13th. Paul Lee, who also exploded, ends up in 14th. Dale Crazy Jr. in 15th. Buddy Hull sneaks his way into the show in the 16th spot. As for the cars not qualified, Julian Atas, the first driver out. Chris King back in 18th. Bobby Bodish, difficult weekend for him, ends 19th. Mike McIntyre ends in 20th. And Nitro Joe Morrison rounds the field out in 21st. And in Top Fuel, Justin Ashley holds on to the #1 spot after Q number 2 last night. Antron Brown rounds out in 2nd. Tony Stewart in 3rd. Brittany Forrest back in the 4th spot. Sean Langdon in 5th. Steve Torrance in 6th. Dan Mercier, who we talked to earlier, rounds out 7th. Spencer Massey, another big explosion for him during qualifying. He ends up in the 8th position. Josh Hart down in 9th. Clay Milliken in 10th. Sean Reed back in 11th. Doug Foley in 12th. Lex June in 13th. Kyle Wurtzel in 14th. Doug Coletta 15th. Scott Farley in the last run of the day makes his way into the show. A 3:97 with a 3 sees him on race day. And sadly, once again, friend of the channel, Will Smith, the 1 car not in the show. A 3:99 with a 7, not able to advance to Sunday. So to end the video, man, these were some challenging track conditions for anybody in all the 4 classes. The Pro Stockers and the Pro Stock bikes obviously have easier time making down the racetrack, but to find the improvements was the key today in these hot and challenging conditions. If you were able to get a clean run in Q number 3, you had a pretty good chance of improving. There was cool track conditions, a cool breeze blowing over the speedway as well, but as we grew later into the day, the humidity picked up, the heat picked up, it became brutal, and anybody not in the show was gonna have a hard time trying to bump their way in. The only people who were able to improve were the ones who needed a Hail Mary run, but that was only in Top Fuel, which is surprising. Top Fuel had the ability to improve their runs in Q number 4, but Funny Car, I don't think anybody did besides those who didn't really have a representable run. So only them getting a full run, even if they didn't improve, was an improvement in the standings for them, but a lot of them didn't make the show anyways. It's going to be an exciting time on a Sunday afternoon. The challenging track conditions are throwing a lot of tuners for a loop. It's going to make it an almost even playing field for everybody, as the high humidity is choking these engines from being able to absorb all the air that's in the atmosphere. So it's going to make it very challenging for anybody to even make a clean pass. So it's going to be a tuner's game on Sunday, as if you look in the staging lanes tomorrow morning, it's going to be a lot of guys looking inside the tuning box of the clutch windows and the timing systems. It's going to be a lot of fun. Be sure to fill out your drag race bracket bonanza picks tonight. It's going to be anybody's guess as to who ends up winning the plaques. But of course, thank you to our friends over at Peak Performance sending us out here all weekend. Been great partners to us all year long. We're so thankful to get to represent them out here at the NHRA national events. And thank you to you guys as well for watching. And until Sunday afternoon, this has been Mighty Mac. We'll see you next time.